Hi guys, I'm Lena. Welcome to my all analog photography channel. Film is a super exciting medium, but choosing one suitable for you personally can be quite challenging. This photographer shoots only Fuji Acros, another one swears by Ilford Delta. A YouTuber is talking about this new film with a cool look, and most photography professors will likely recommend shooting HP5 or Tri-X. I have to say before we start that my personal favorite film ever is Ilford Delta 100. It's not for everyone. I just absolutely love the smooth grain, the wonderful tonal transition, the softness of it, the open shadows that I get. So please be aware that this is the imagery that I like, and forgive my personal little bias if it surfaces anywhere. This series of videos is intended to serve as a guide for understanding the official datasheets without being lost in all the graphs, numbers, and terminology. If you know how to interpret them, you will be able to make independent, informed decisions without having to rely on online opinions or marketing fluff. Speaking of marketing fluff, a lot of films out there are simply rebrands of FOMA or AGFA. A super classical proven example is the Rolei brand. If you go on Freestyle Photo website, under the Rolei brand you will find AGFA datasheets. They didn't even bother creating their own. Doesn't mean this film is bad. I have a roll of Rolei and more rolls of it over there. Not all cases are this transparent, and I have a long list of suspicious films, but I don't want to make any claims here. The only thing I can surely say that the brand that creates original, high-quality products will always have a comprehensive data sheet available. You have to be aware where you're spending your money and whether you're supporting the brands which are actually producing films and moving them forward, or most of the money is simply going to design and promotion. We are going to start with spectral sensitivity. I will not go into all the super precise details about wavelengths, logarithms, and how curves are plotted, because what we currently care about is how various subjects will look on your film. This is the full color spectrum. What our eyes see lies between roughly 400 and 700 nanometers, everything above 700 going into infrared. Those are the spectral sensitivity graphs of all the films I could find. If some graph isn't here, means there is no datasheet available. As you can see, they all fall into 4 categories: orthochromatic, orthopanchromatic, panchromatic, and superpanchromatic. Manufacturers' descriptions, they are all over the place, calling orthopan or superpan films simply panchromatic or vice versa, so I categorize them purely based on the definition of the terms and the available data. Orthochromatic is an emulsion not sensitive to red light at all. Panchromatic is sensitized to the entire visible spectrum, up to 700 nanometers. A film that is far away from orthochromatic but still is not reaching those 700 nanometers is called orthopanchromatic. And finally, everything that goes above 700 nanometers is called superpanchromatic, sometimes also infrared, which is not technically correct because true infrared films are not currently produced. Orthochromatic films are great for beginners, mainly because you can load them in subdued red light. So a lot of stress of getting your film on the reel and getting the reel in the tank all is taken out because you can see what you're doing. In general purpose photography, ortho films look pretty much normal, maybe a little bit the contrast is elevated and the overall look is a tiny bit more intense because all the red elements will get darker. Where orthofilm gets tricky is portraiture. For example, I have very fair skin and I've got a lot of very light orange freckles which are not visible in normal life. Probably you don't really see them right now, but this is how I look on an ortho emulsion. Darker skins with reddish undertones come out darker and more textured on orthofilm than on any other. So sometimes it's a very good choice for super intense male portraits or portraits of older people. But for example, a fair-skinned redhead with a lot of very well-defined freckles can look amazing on this film. And the most unfortunate subject for ortho are people with medium skin tones and reddish undertones, because their skin will look simply dull gray. So if you have such a subject, you might wanna put a little bit more contrasty light. Orthopanchromatic film, thanks to only slightly reduced red sensitivity, does not ruin faces in portraiture. In fact, it's quite good for Caucasian skins because it creates a very nice lip-skin separation as lips become slightly darker and pop just a little bit more, just the right amount to make it interesting. But for darker skins, it is reversed because the redder and the lighter part of the lip simply becomes as dark as the rest of the skin. So this effect is not super highly pronounced, and it can be corrected by using more lip gloss or choosing more contrasty lighting, but you can also choose a simply fully panchromatic film. Otherwise, both orthopan and truly panchromatic films have more or less adequate classical normal reproduction of colors in black and white. Most of them feature this little dip, if you look at the spectrums, between blue and green, and most likely it's not intentional design, it's likely a sensitizer reaction, because first it was sensitive only to this blue spectrum and went down like this, and then they added this sensitizer for red and green, and then it went like this, and that's how the little dip was created. But it's actually super nice, because what it does, it really separates the trees from blue skies. Also, some films seem to have a deeper dip than others. The more uniform the curve shape, the flatter the image will look, with not as much tonal separation between colors. In that sense, CMS22 from Adox is an interesting case. It has a super jumping curve, and if you Google the images of CMS22 processed in Adotech Developer, they are just mind-blowing and absolutely three-dimensional, because the colors, the tones, they separate so distinctively. But you have to be careful, please read the instructions, because it's super tricky to handle. Another part to look at is the blue side of the spectrum. If it's relatively low, you have a good chance at your skies being darker and white clouds standing out much better. For example, Fomapan 100 or 200 is an excellent choice to shoot a fair-skinned model against a blue sky, because the sky will be very deep and her skin will be of nice tone, but still the cut off, no, it's on this side, the cut off red part will make lips a little darker. But for dark skins though, I would choose a Fomapan 400, because it has this extended red spectrum, which means the redder part of the lips will become a bit lighter to add this three-dimensionality. Burger Panchro film, according to the curve, will most likely blow your skies, and I wouldn't really take it, for example, to the mountains with a lot of cold blue light, because you might come back home with a lot of very light and flat images. But of course, if you wish to get intense skies with certain films, you will get them, because it can all be corrected with filters. The only filter you won't be able to use is infrared. So, last but not least, Superpanchromatic films. As I said before, true infrared films are not manufactured anymore, and the ones that are available today are extended red sensitivity films, Superpanchromatic, but they don't go to real extremes. Most raw light films are technical AGFA films with extended red sensitivity, but only one is marketed as infrared, the other being called Superpan, but essentially they are absolutely the same. True infrared film records reflected infrared energy, which was used by the military to differentiate between plants and camouflage. The infrared skies are super dark gray, almost black, and trees become absolutely white and glowing, and this is so beautiful. Just Google Ilford SFX photos, you'll just die. Without filters, this film behaves pretty much like any other panchro film, with one exception. I've never ever had such gorgeous portraits of me as on Adox HR50. Because of this extended red sensitivity, the skin is just glowing and lips become super light, which gives an absolutely surreal effect. I now only want to be photographed on this film. all the freckles, all the imperfections, they disappear. It's magic. And of course, lips can always be made darker with makeup. My assumption is that darker skins will also benefit from this extended red sensitivity, because if there are slight red undertones, it will give more shape to the face, and the red parts of the lips will just pop and glow much nicer. Of course, you better not use this film for standard male portraits, because a little bit more roughness is expected in this case, but you can always pop a green filter on to correct this. But about filters, it's a whole different story, and for now I think it's enough information. Thank you guys for watching this video. Subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram, and see you in the next video, where we will be talking about, I don't remember what, because actually I recorded the second video before I recorded this one. Bella, I cannot record a video like this, Bella. No. But this is how I look on an ortho emulsion. There is a giant crack on the wall. Wow!